Hello there. Good evening and welcome to another episode of our program, ABUJA Dispatch, where we try to bring to your living rooms those events and issues and indeed those characters that have shaped the thoughts of many people in the outgoing week. ABUJA Disspatch is my name. Welcome back. The recent decision of the federal government to remove fuel subsidy totally by mid-2022 has continued to attract public outcry, but the government is insisting that it will go ahead with the policy. While somehow they believe that this policy is needed at a time like now, others are describing the move as anti-people. This is the focus of our Dateline this week. Stay with us.
Fuel subsidy, in a simple language, means that a fraction of the price that consumers are supposed to pay to enjoy the use of petroleum products is paid by government so as to ease the price burden. The Nigerian government has consistently removed part of this subsidy in recent years, claiming that prices paid by Nigerians to use petroleum products are less than what they should pay, particularly when benchmarked against the prices in the international market. They claim that this move will provide necessary impetus for the Nigerian economy to find its rhythm.
What you're dealing with is about 243 billion naira of fuel subsidies every month. Anyone can take his telephone and compute this. 60 million liters times 135 naira times 30 days. It will give you 243 billion. So there's no magic around this. You can't avoid it. There is Madam is here, Sarah is here. She said you can be transparent, but don't be naked. But I think this is a good time to be naked. Because this is the reality that we are facing on. Going forward into 2022, just as the Honourable Minister has indicated, we simply can't afford it anymore.
Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed had announced that the government would remove fuel subsidy and replace it with a monthly 5,000 naira transport grant to about 40 million poor Nigerians. By this, the government had proposed to remove all subsidies in fuel in 2022, arguing that such subsidy removal savings can be better invested in refineries, roads and major infrastructural projects, which in the long term will ensure sustainable business development and wealth generation for her citizens.
Intervention we want to provide, so we said between 20 to 40 million people, and there's still a lot of work going on within a committee that is chaired by His Excellency the Vice President, with the states as members and a few of us ministers as members. So we have to have a landing as to the exact number between 20 to 40. We already agreed it will be 5,000 naira. And we also agreed that the remittances have to be done digitally. So the e-naira will help, but also the various payment platforms that are currently available. What we will not do is paying people in cash. So it will be transfers that people will receive through one kind of electronic money or the other.
The question many are asking is if fuel subsidy removal is an imperative for enhancing business development with focus on job creation in Nigeria. Many are of the belief that there is no significant relationship between fuel subsidy removal and job creation in the contemporary Nigeria, even though fuel subsidy removal is an important element in the larger scheme to accelerate business development.
You have this conception that Nigerian government is paying subsidy, Saudi government is paying subsidy. One is true, one is false. If a government is running huge fiscal savings, having provided your basic needs, it has extra money, like Saudi Arabia, and it takes part of that surplus to subsidize you, that is government paying. If your revenues are already not sufficient for you to provide the services of your large and growing population, and 70% unemployed, 90% living on less than $2 a day, 70% living on less than $1 a day. A population that is poor by every HDI. You don't have power. You don't have infrastructure. Your agriculture is disconnected. You don't have irrigation. If you are already not earning enough to do that, when you borrow to subsidize, it is our children that are subsidizing us, because they are the ones that will pay.
A school of thought says the 2022 deadline was realistic, as its impact might be mitigated with the coming on stream of the 650,000 barrel per day Dangote refinery, BUA Group refinery, Walter Smith refinery, and other modular refineries. By extension, since the local refineries are not working, there have been an upsurge in artisanal crude oil refineries using local initiatives. As never before, there may be urgent needs to get them on board and therefore produce more energy needs for the country while operating with environmental regulations.
The transition from artisanal refineries to modular refineries has been delayed because of the operator's expectation that this process will be fully underwritten by government. However, what this framework envisages is a private sector-led partnership with equity participation from the state governments or its agencies, registered local cooperative societies, and the integration of regional refinery stakeholders, with a private investor having majority equity. This is the sustainable model.
Looking forward, the implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act, the PIA, and the potential removal of the subsidy in 2022 is expected to provide some respite for the downstream oil and gas sector with regards to investments and reduce reliance on NNPC's importation.
The government has set, July next year as the probable day for the removal, because it is expected that by that time, the domestic refining capacity will have improved, because it will be extremely difficult, especially from a political point of view, to remove subsidy if there is no domestic capacity to refine.
Inflation, whether official or unofficial, will skyrocket, and it will have negative impact, on the entire economy.
On the downside, however, the months in the initial aftermath of the subsidy removal will see rising inflationary pressures, which could be detrimental to household income, considering the slow pace of household income growth since 2015.
Permanent Secretary in the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing leads us into the ministry's efforts towards keeping up with the pace of massive developments of the Nigerian infrastructure. Stay with us again. Welcome to the specific segments of our program, Abuja Dispatch. And tonight we take on the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Works and Housing, Babangida Hosseini. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
It is not open to questioning that your ministry is regarded as being pivotal to the successes recorded by the present administration. Now, before the last 6 years, or within the last 6 years and now, what has been the changes you noticed in the political will of governance?
The narrative changed in so many perspectives regarding the incoming administration vis-a-vis what was the story before now. The funding itself, which is a critical element in the success of any project, has been enhanced now. Also, the focus and the determination of the administration to address the infrastructure gap, the political will, the relative freedom granted the Honorable Minister through the ministry to run the affairs of the ministry unfettered and unhindered is also a big plus. So all of this put together have created the enabling environment for the ministry to record the successes we are recording now.
Infrastructural financing is one issue that is very key to any government, and one would not want to know, how has the government been really funding these massive infrastructural renewal drives across the country? Of course, we know there is this huge budgetary allocations, but still funding is an issue that the government is really keen about.
You see, principally before now, the funding arrangement in the ministry has depended entirely on the national budget. And you know the structure of the budget, it is almost always tampered and affected by so many factors. So this administration from 2016 coming down the lane now has created a lot of funding windows, which are ingenious strategies designed to address the funding gaps. We have the presidential intervention funds. The project are financed. That funding window finances the second Niger Bridge, the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and the Abuja-Kano Expressway. These are all projects and funded under the PIDF. We also have the Sukuk window. It's an Islamic product which is designed to provide a single-digit loan for the federal government to address these funding issues. We have a range of projects spread across the 6 zones of the country. In 2017, 100 billion was invested, raised from Sukuk and invested in the road sector. In 2018, 162 billion naira was expended, 100 billion naira. And then in 2019-2020, 162 billion naira was shared, prorated across the 6 geopolitical zones equally to fund these projects. Aside this, we also have the regular budgeting funding window, which has been enhanced. It is important to mention that before now, looking back to 2014-2013, the total appropriated and released funds to this ministry ranges between 16 to 18 billion naira, which, looking at the infrastructural deficit and the explosion of the population, and also the need to expand the frontier of our infrastructural base, is really a drop in the ocean. So really, this administration has done so much in terms of creating new funding windows, which have supported the ministry to deliver on most of these projects.
There are still some notable federal roads that are, yet to be touched. But we noticed recently that there are ongoing works by the ministry in the federal tertiary institutions. One wonders, why this intervention?
Well, it is true. You see, you can't stop people from having their own thinking and their own plans. It is always normal, and it is nothing to be contested. But the truth is, go to our tertiary institutions before now. Look at the conditions of the road. Look at the dilapidated conditions of the access road into those institutions. And then now, fast forward to the present time. Why would anybody question investment in education? The quantum of development we are having today is a function of our investment in education. These are 2 drivers. And really, it is an all-encompassing thing. You cannot really just leave Ministry of Education and the few funding options that are available to it to address the issues of educational decay and infrastructure in the universities. In any case, roads are roads. The competence, the skill set, the requirement to do roads is domiciled here in Ministry of Works. So this is it. And then the Honorable Minister Babatunde Raji Fashola is passionate about having, an all-encompassing developmental agenda, which is dovetailed within the administration's developmental strategy. So for me, I think it is really something that we should be proud, investing in the tertiary education and the institutions that are having these serious problems. And the consequence of this is that it has a cascading effect on the learning environment. You can see the performance of the students, and perhaps I'll leave that for the educationists to assess. And also the security element in it. The aesthetics values of the institution alone, if you go there, you have this sense of belonging to say, oh, this is what it should be. And this is how it was in the past. So really, we are just reinventing the wheel of progress to bring it at par with what it should be.
The question on the lips of most Nigerians is how the government your ministry determine what federal roads to be fixed? I mean, what is the priority? What are the considerations by the ministry to know, okay, this is the area we want to, fix now?
Okay, really, the way it operates is like this. Already this administration inherited huge backlog of federal roads that have not been completed. And really, those ones take priority over every other one. The famous ones we can remember easily is the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. You can also look at the second Niger Bridge, which has been a statement and a work in progress since the 60s and the 70s. This administration took it and is completing. As I speak with you today, the Honorable Minister was on inspection a couple of weeks back, and the performance and the progress is in the range of 80%. So we are hoping that by the end of this administration, that bridge will be delivered. So those ones take priority, the ongoing road projects that are considered a priority. The second one, of course, that normally the ministry, the key strategic road, the economic roads that open up economic corridors, that open up access to market, access to farms, access to industries, access to sources of raw materials. These are all economic roads that really takes also priority. And then, of course, you have those that are interlinking roads to open up the country. And this is what we are doing. So all of this put together are generated from responses we get from the people on the street, from the National Assembly, from the community leaders, from even the common man. They have all our numbers and they reach out to the ministry to say, oh, look, Honorable Minister, this is a critical road. Our bridge has failed. We are cut off, and efforts are being made to address such challenges. So basically, these are the strategy, the determining factors. But principally, like I said, is the completion of the ongoing ones. The Sokoto-Tombol road, which is about 200-kilometer road, was inherited and is being completed. We are just finishing the road furniture. Hopefully, the road should be completed in a short time and to be commissioned. So these are all areas that this administration, the Kano-Maiduguri Road Section 1 to 5, was awarded in 2003. This administration is completing it. In fact, except for the security issues around the Section 5 segment of the road, we would have completed that. But I can tell you Section 2, Section 3 are already done and completed. So these are all the determining factors, and a credit to this administration for this nationalistic position that it has taken to complete ongoing projects.
The effects of flooding has been massive in some parts of the country. Now, what are the mitigating efforts being put in place by the ministry, to curb the effects of the rains, particularly in those construction areas across the country?
It's quite unfortunate, and it's a thing of concern. Some bridges have caved in and given way. Some roads have failed. But then these are natural phenomena in any human endeavor, and we just can't run away from them. The only thing is to put in mitigating measures and to be on top of our game. And over the weekend, I was in sites in Bauchi State where a bridge failed, Bauchi-Darazo Road. On the instruction of the minister, I was out on inspection to see some failed roads. So we have 36 controllers in every state of the Federation, and we receive timely report from them online regarding the condition of our roads and what we need to do. And I think we are on top of the job, and inshallah it shouldn't be a problem.
Our guest tonight has been the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Works and Housing, Mr. Babangida Hussaini. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Irrespective of the few bad eggs among us, and every nation has such bad eggs, Nigeria remains a great country populated by great people, living at home or abroad, making us proud. This compendium attests to that fact, and the names of people and the fields they have excelled speak about their resilience and how exceptional Nigerians, both at home and abroad, have become. It is our duty to extol and celebrate them, as no one else will do so for us. Rather, other people will tend to capitalize on the few bad eggs and characterize us in their own narratives. that seek to characterize us in bad light. We must not allow that to happen. As we launch the compendium of excellent Nigerians today, we are also celebrating some of our best nationally and globally. I call on every Nigerian, irrespective of where they may be, to continue to be of exemplary behavior and with determination to offer quality services that contribute to the progress of humanity.
That is how far time can permit us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. For further information, comments, and suggestions, you can reach us out on any of our various social media platforms. Thank you for sharing your precious moment with us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. A week from now, we'll bring you another refreshing episode. Same time, same station. Adegboyega Robodo is my name. Have a good night.